On a single autumn day in 1929, the richest nation on earth began to fall apart. Crowds surged into the streets of New York, staring in disbelief as their fortunes vanished into thin air. Within months, millionaires were selling apples on street corners. This is the story of the Great Depression, the catastrophe that broke the modern world and changed it forever. To understand the fall, you have to see the height. The 1920s roared. After the Great War, America boomed like never before, with new cars, new radios, and a giddy sense that the good times would never end. And nothing roared louder than the stock market. Share prices climbed higher and higher, year after year, and it seemed that anyone could get rich simply by buying and waiting. Ordinary people were swept up in the fever. Teachers, farmers, shopkeepers, even shoeshine boys poured their savings into stocks, terrified of being left behind while their neighbors grew rich. Most dangerous of all, they bought on margin. They borrowed money to buy shares, putting down as little as 10% and gambling that prices would keep climbing. The whole boom was built on debt. By the autumn of 1929, the cracks were showing. Prices wobbled. The smart money grew nervous and quietly began to sell. And then, in late October, the ground gave way. On Black Thursday, October 24th, panic erupted on the trading floor. Millions of shares were dumped at once. Men shouted and wept as prices went into free fall, and outside, a stunned crowd gathered in the streets. Then came Black Tuesday, October 29th. Over 16 million shares changed hands in a single day of pure chaos. The ticker machines fell hours behind. By the time they caught up, billions of dollars had simply ceased to exist. Fortunes built over a lifetime were wiped out in an afternoon. Those who had borrowed to buy were ruined twice over, crushed under debts they could never repay. The dream of easy money was dead. But the crash was only the beginning. The banks had gambled their customers' savings on the very same market, and now they had nothing left. One by one, they began to fail. Terrified crowds rushed to pull out their money before it was too late, but there was not enough to go around. Nearly 9,000 banks collapsed, and with them, the life savings of millions of families simply disappeared. As money vanished, spending stopped, orders dried up, and factory after factory shut its gates. The machines that had powered the roaring 20s fell silent, and the men who ran them were sent home. Unemployment exploded. At its worst, nearly 1 in 4 American workers had no job at all. 15 million people woke each morning with nowhere to go and no way to feed their children. Breadlines stretched for entire city blocks. Proud men who had once worn suits to the office now waited for hours in the cold for a bowl of soup and a piece of bread. On street corners across the country, former businessmen sold apples for a nickel apiece. It became the bitter symbol of an age, the sight of respectable people reduced to begging in all but name. Those who lost their homes had nowhere to go. On the edges of every city, shantytowns rose from garbage and scrap built of cardboard, tin, and old crates. Bitterly, people named them Hoovervilles, after the president they blamed. Whole families crowded into these shacks, huddling around fires against the winter. Children grew thin and hollow-eyed. Hunger, once unthinkable in the land of plenty, became an everyday companion. And then, as if the misery were not enough, nature itself turned against them. Across the Great Plains, years of drought and reckless farming had stripped the soil bare, and the wind began to lift it into the sky. They called them black blizzards. Walls of dust thousands of feet high rolled across the land, turning day into night, burying homes and machinery, and choking the lungs of anyone caught outside. The farms became deserts. Hundreds of thousands abandoned everything and loaded their families onto broken-down trucks, heading west in search of work that often did not exist. They were mocked as Okies wherever they went. The despair ran deep. Marriages buckled under the strain. Some men, unable to bear the shame of failing their families, simply walked away. Others took their own lives. The nation's spirit was cracking. In the White House, President Herbert Hoover insisted that prosperity was just around the corner. He believed the economy would heal itself if the government simply stood back. It did not, and the suffering only deepened. In 1932, thousands of desperate war veterans marched on Washington to demand the bonus they had been promised. The government answered with troops, tanks, and tear gas, driving its own heroes out and burning their camp to the ground. The people had had enough. In 1932, they swept Hoover from office and turned to a new leader, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who told a frightened nation that the only thing they had to fear was fear itself. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, a flood of bold experiments. The government put millions back to work building roads, dams, bridges, and parks, and for the first time offered a safety net to those who had fallen. He moved to save the banks, guaranteeing people's deposits so they would never again lose everything overnight. Slowly, cautiously, a shattered nation began to believe that things might one day get better. But there was no quick cure. Recovery came in fits and starts, and setbacks pushed millions back into hardship. The Great Depression did not truly end until the world was once again marching toward war. It was the vast war machine of the 1940s that finally roared the factories back to life, hiring every hand it could find. The nation was whole again, but it had been forged in a decade of pain. The Great Depression left scars that lasted for generations and lessons written in hunger and dust. It stands as a warning of how quickly a golden age can turn to ash and how much a people can endure and survive.